In a world where losing in your fantasy football league isn't an option, we present to you Triple Coverage Podcast.
Hey YouTube, if you like what you hear, make sure you click subscribe below. Today we're going to do our first preseason recap. We're going to call it Cheezin or Treason. So crack a cold one and enjoy.
Let's try not to laugh. Start laughing.
Hi, Treason.
In a world where losing in your fantasy football league isn't an option, we present to you Triple Coverage Podcast.
How about that?
James, drop a load
He's a
on.
big dude, 6'6", 250 plus. What? Eating that Chipotle? What? Avocado's extra? What? And guac is extra? What?
And Equinemius St. Brown and Jamon Moore and all these guys, they're just guys right now. They're just like the Jeff Janices and the other guys that you mentioned before that they've taken chances on that have never worked out. Am I wrong? Okay, am I wrong? Was I wrong?
I think
no.
you were.
Oh, yes.
How was I wrong?
No.
I don't know.
Okay,
I got both your backs.
thank you.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. We are live.
On Thursday.
Triple
Yeah.
covered.
It's Thursday. Happy Thursday.
Oh, why didn't you say it? It's Thursday.
It's
Dynasty, not Dynasty Day.
Just to let you guys know, I'm not going to be here on Saturday. So let everybody know that I'm going to be absent on the Saturday episode.
Mhm.
I'll join you guys again on Monday, hopefully.
Saturdays are for the
fantastic.
boys, man.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Are you doing something with your son?
It's for you two boys. Yeah. Me and the boy. Little
You
break,
gotta start them early.
Little break.
Make sure they know Saturdays are for the boys.
Big
clearly.
bud.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so we're going to get into some preseason Cheezin or Treason.
Yeah. Are we cheesing about this guy? Are we happy, or do we think it's lies? Is it false insecurities that we're reading about, and then we're just like, oh man, do I want to believe this or not?
Is it crimes against fantasy?
Is it crimes against fantasy?
Well, the coaches could be held for treason, for lying.
Yeah. So are we locking him up, or how are we doing this?
That's high treason.
Adam Gase would have been locked up years ago.
There's a
if that's the
difference?
case.
Yeah. That's
I think that's what happened with
son of a bee.
John Fox and old Fisher.
Well, you
Yeah.
know who it is now is Pete Carroll.
No, Pete
That
Carroll just
dude-
puts a positive spin on everything. I don't
That
think that
dude
comes to-
hypes up every person that comes on his team. That
Well,
sounded bad.
he's like
Every person that is on his team, not comes on his team. Because that's a whole nother story.
This is the innuendo
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, he shouldn't know that.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I think he's like the 70-year-old optimist. The guy probably does yoga and meditates. I think that's just kind of his deal.
He's
loves
you,
gum.
he's you, but he's 70.
He loves chewing gum.
That will be me when I'm 70, yes.
Right.
I will be head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, so I think this preseason, granted it's week 1, granted we've been chomping at the bit, and now the gates have flown open like a greyhound race, and all the dogs are going out crazy. We're waiting to get our teeth into something, or grab something, or see something in somebody, some player, some guy that we drafted.
Get the advantage.
Yeah, looking for an advantage. Looking for who to get off of, maybe guys that we can cut and get off our roster. So this is the time of year where it's a little dicey because you don't want to read too much into things, but you still want to pay attention.
Did any of you bet first week of preseason?
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, I did. I literally, I'm not lying. I bet a couple of parlays, six teams total. In total, I went 1 for 5.
Really?
And I was literally like,
1 and 5 you went?
and that's why I'm like, you know what? I can't bet preseason anymore.
Did you take overs?
But everything. Oh, unders, overs. A couple of games that I took. One was the Detroit Lions, who got effed over on the last second call. I'll mention that when we get.
Always.
I will mention it exactly what happened when we get to that game. But yeah, I don't want to go too far into it. But I went 1 and 5, and I was like, you know what? Preseason is just not for me. I need to know what guys for sure are playing, how long they're playing. When the season starts, I'll know that, and I feel more comfortable betting it because they'll sit there and tell you that this guy's going to play a whole quarter, then he plays one series, then the guy doesn't play at all, then they're playing against a second string defense. It's just too much variable to bet on. Like I don't see how anyone could make money on the preseason consistently.
I'm also a degenerate, so I bet as well.
Would you win?
Yeah, I did. I bet 4 tickets total. I hit 2 out of the 4.
Okay.
I bet 2 on Thursday, 2 3-teamers on Thursday, and then I bet a 2-teamer on Friday and a 2-teamer on Saturday.
Okay.
I didn't bet
I'll
any
wait.
over-unders, though.
That'll be the first and last time. I'll wait now. You didn't bet, did you?
Yeah,
I did not.
You did bet?
No, I did
Good.
not.
Stay away, bro. It's not worth it.
Take it easy.
Week 3. If you're going to bet week 3, that's a dress rehearsal.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like this year is the year of the over. I'm interested to see how the books
that new
kind of
rule
play
change.
it, but so far in the games that we've watched, Flag City. So it's a little scary. I mean, as far as fantasy goes, it's probably good because its offensive production is probably going to rise.
I agree.
Except for if you have that receiver that it's like a 60-yard bomb, and then he gets flagged for it, like you don't get any points for that. So it's like, yeah, the field's shorter now, so you're gonna get the over-unders, but like that could have been, if he would have caught it, then it would have been a 60-yard reception. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really help you out as far as receiving and running backs go.
Well,
Quarterbacks, I think.
I bet that will be a setting very soon. If you drew a penalty in fantasy, that might be a setting pretty soon. You get points per carries, you get points, some first downs for a whole lot of different stuff.
Some basketball leagues have technical fouls as a category. So
You
you
get-
get
maybe you
technical
get
foul,
half.
you lose that.
If it's a 60-yard bomb and the guy gets flagged for interference or whatever, you get half those yards. You get 3 points. You get
No,
Okay.
it's just if you draw a penalty, you get points per penalty, like PPP. Points per
PPP,
penalty?
triple P.
Yeah, 3 points per penalty.
We'll
You
start.
draw some flags.
Let's start a league,
Let's
Let's start with the first game.
please.
This is the Cam Newton Kelvin Benjamin Bowl. That's all anybody wanted to talk about. It was all over the media about how Cam Newton
the
went right up to
non-issue bowl.
not an issue to you, but it's clearly an issue with Kelvin Benjamin and Cam Newton.
This is one
Which
thing.
is fine.
One thing I took away from this game, honestly, is this Buffalo Bills. When I went back and looked at the stat line about what happened here, like they played these quarterbacks literally perfectly. Like look at where they ended up. Peterman had 119 yards and a touchdown. Josh Allen, 116 yards and a touchdown. A.J. McCarron, 116 yards. They all got between 10 and 19 attempts, and they all played almost the exact amount of time. They literally said, here, guys, everyone's going to get their chance. You're going to get about 10 to 20 throws. Get in there and prove yourself. And they all pretty much did exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Peterman did throw an interception. Was Peterman the one that you were telling me that was not his fault? Or was that not a different game? I can't remember. Me and you were talking at work where he threw it and it hit him in the hands and it went over his head, I believe.
I don't think that was Peter.
Okay.
His only incompletion was the interception.
Right. He went 9 for 10. Allen went 9 for 19. Not that great, but he threw a touchdown. A.J. McCarron went 7 for 10. So they all actually looked okay. But from the Carolina side, Cam Newton played, he had 6 for 9, 84 yards.
I think it was in one series, though, only.
Yeah, I mean, he did really well. He had 84 yards throwing, so.
Did I see something? Because I actually didn't watch this particular game. I was too busy watching Cam Newton and Kelvin Benjamin, hashing out their non-issue before the game.
So you're watching TMZ instead of watching.
I know.
Cool,
Yeah.
Cool, bro.
Because that's how much I cared about.
He has a gossip podcast.
Yeah. I was doing some studying with the Gossip podcast. Did Cameron Artis Payne start ahead of C.J. Anderson?
Yeah.
Because I thought I read something about that.
Yeah, Anderson was behind Payne in this. Yeah.
Weird.
Why?
It's just weird.
No, I'm saying why. Why do you think it was like that?
I don't know. I don't know if it was Rivera trying to prove a point or saying like, oh, Anderson hasn't been with the team long enough. Like, why would Cameron Artis Payne get the start?
Let's hear the narratives. I love it.
Like, why would he?
Well, McCaffrey got the start. They were trying to work McCaffrey inside, and they were letting him do some of that work. I think it was more of from what I heard, more of a saving Anderson from. They didn't want him running with the ones. They wanted him to get some run, but with the
With the threes?
yeah,
Why?
with
Why?
the threes, because
Yikes.
it's getting some run and getting out there, but not as much of a chance of maybe injury with if you're running with the ones, and it's more of a.
That's a weird way to look at it. Not you, but if you're the head coach, it's kind of weird.
For sure. I mean, look, you listen to some of the stuff that coaches do. Yeah, for sure. It's a little out there, but to me, it's not that crazy. But if it was to continue into other games, then I would pay more attention to it.
Are either one of you two worried at all about their offensive line in Carolina? Because I mean, I'm looking at all these rushers that there's maybe 12 guys that got carries.
26 for 53 yards.
26 carries for 53 yards, and no one rushed for more than 16 yards. Granted, everyone got 4 or less or 5 or less carries, but if you look at the numbers, -1, -4, 2 yards, 3 yards. Like the leading rusher was C.J. Anderson with 16 yards on 4 carries, and they scored 28 points. So is that anything, or do you guys just kind of not a big deal? I guess.
No, I throw the whole stat box. I could.
Doesn't even care?
I could care less.
Yeah.
So did you see anything that you liked? Because I liked seeing DJ Moore catch 4 balls for 75 yards. He had 6 targets. They made sure they got on the ball, and I thought he looked really, really well, and is gonna be the number 2 there in Carolina at worst, behind Funches, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he looked good in preseason too. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Is not so much like what they finished with as far as 4 for 75, but how they looked when they did get some run.
I thought McCaffrey looked pretty good.
I did too.
I'm not the biggest McCaffrey fan. Like I'm not a hater of McCaffrey.
Because that's me.
Yeah, that's you. That's definitely.
So you can be second.
That's definitely you. And I was skeptical about the weight that he's putting on, and skeptical about them running him inside. It's nice to see them try to get it, but hitting the season and actually seeing if he does get it, because C.J. Anderson's the guy that is, to me, is going to be the one that's really going to get the bulk of those kind of runs.
He should be, yes.
But McCaffrey did look a little shifty, and last year that was kind of some of the thing that he didn't really make people miss, and he made some guys miss. So
he bulked up.
I'm keeping an eye on him.
Anything else you guys want to add to this game?
No, I'm not impressed with anything really that Buffalo had to offer. It was nice to see Josh Allen out there. He looked decent at times, and then there was a couple other plays where he looked like completely lost. I just chalked that up to his first preseason game ever.
I'm kind of a sideways eye on the Murphy kid. I don't know a whole bunch about him, but if something happens to McCoy, that backfield's going to be interesting. So,
yeah, I'm not sold on Ivory there.
I like Ivory. I think Ivory's going to be the guy that'll kind of take over for McCoy, but he's got an injury history as well. So that's one to look. I think if you're in Dynasty, look a little deeper on that one. Watch the preseason, because if he gets suspended, if McCoy happens to get suspended or miss some time this year, you're going to want something. There's maybe an option to get somebody you can plug in for a week or two. You never know.
Maybe deep Dynasty.
One last question, then you can move on. Buffalo wide receiver. Outside of Kelvin Benjamin, you can only pick one Buffalo wide receiver to own in a Dynasty league. Who are we taking?
Corey Coleman.
Really?
It's too early for me. I can't really.
I don't even see
As you
one.
like to say, put my chip in the basket.
I've never said that.
Not Ray McLeod?
Yes, you have.
Put my chip in a basket? I've never said that line ever.
I thought you put lotion in the basket, no?
Yeah, if you
It
wanted
puts
to
a
get
lotion in the
Actually, I was
basket?
listening to it on the way here. So
I said put the chip in the basket? I've never said
if
that
I had to
term.
put my
That's
chip
a-
in the basket,
Then I said it wrong, because I've never...
and I thought the same thing. I'm like, man, it's probably lotion.
Have
in
you
the
ever heard me
basket.
say that?
I don't remember you saying it.
Have I ever said that in your life, knowing you for 34 years? That's all I'm
No,
saying.
but if
Okay.
you heard it on recording, then you obviously
Well,
said
if
it.
it wasn't you, it was him. So
Yeah, I guarantee it was Jay. Go ahead. What's next?
it might have been.
Maybe chips in a basket. I don't know. Is it?
Chip in a basket. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, yeah. Chips in a basket,
If
yeah.
I
Not
had to
chip.
put my
I'm
chip
just
in the
kidding. I
basket.
don't know. I have no idea. All right, so next game is what? Chicago Bears against the Cincinnati Bengals.
It was nice to see John Ross actually get the start alongside AJ Green. They're really trying to give him a second chance. I mean, after what he did
never had
last
a
year.
first chance though. Like,
He did though. He had
Tell-
that first game. He got that one carry. He fumbled. And you never heard from him again. Then he got hurt in practice.
You guys okay?
Okay.
Wait, who is this?
I guess
guy?
that qualifies as a chance. That's a solid chance.
Who's this?
John
Ross?
John Ross.
Okay.
Did he not get a chance? He didn't get a chance.
Not
How many snaps
Not
did
really.
he play?
He fumbled.
Okay,
In
but
his,
how many
in
snaps
his
did
opening
he play though?
chance, he fumbled, and then you never heard from him again.
That's the only chance
He got
you get?
hurt.
I didn't say it's the only chance he's going to get. I
He got
said
hurt.
No.
that was his first chance.
Was it really a chance, dude? I don't want to argue about a chance, but like, here, I'm going to give you a chance, and I give you one thing, and you mess up just one time, and like, there's your chance.
Okay, that's Marvin Lewis, though. That's Marvin Lewis. That's how he is with his rookies.
Okay.
That's what burned John Fox with not playing rookies the same way. They give you a chance, and I'm not saying it's a big chance. That's his chance. He went out there, he got one carry, fumbled, you didn't hear from him again the whole rest of the season.
Okay.
Now he's
I
getting
thought
his.
he got hurt when
now he's
on
getting
that
his
play.
second
I thought he
chance.
did too.
On that play, he got hurt, Jay.
No, he got hurt. I thought in practice.
Regardless, that's not much of a chance, boys.
We'll
now that
Google
they
it.
got rid of Brandon LaFell, I think that John Ross is going to be in this offense regardless. So I don't know how many targets he's expected to get, but to all accounts point to he could easily be the number 2 on this team. You have Auden Tate, you have Malone that's there. Who else? Who else is going to take it? Tyler Boyd, maybe. Other than that, I think that John Ross should be the number 2 outside of AJ Green.
Whoa.
Damn,
Wow.
that's how much I believe in it. That I just broke the clip on the table.
That's what it sounds like when James drops nuggets.
And that was it right
Look,
there.
it's AJ Green, and then John
Guys.
Ross has the leg up on everybody else.
Yes.
Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Probably? Okay, so it's definitely pay attention because you didn't get to see anything from the guy. You really didn't. So
I agree.
I mean, coming out of college, he was supposed to be more than just a speed guy, and we'll see, I guess. I mean, there's been decent things coming out of camp.
You should have already, though, if you believe in John Ross, you should have already went out and got him in the before the offseason, I should say, before OTAs and everything happened, before they cut Brandon LaFell. Now is not the time to go out and get him because the owner of him is now looking at him, hoping that he is going to be the number 2. They're going to want too much for him. So if you're in a dynasty league, the ship has sailed if you're trying to acquire John Ross on the cheap. I think that's kind of sailed.
Not yet. Because he hasn't really done anything yet.
But who else there is going to take targets away from him, you know what I mean? Like, just by volume.
Oh, if he comes out and is just terrible, then
okay.
It'll be Boyd or Malone.
You're running out of time. The Sands are running
Yes.
out of... If you believe in John Ross, the Sands are running out of that hourglass.
I'd rather have Post Malone than Josh Malone. Go ahead.
Did you guys like how they... remember when we laughed and the Bengals drafted Quentin Flowers because of how bad his combine was?
Yeah, he's already listed as a running back.
They turned him into a running back.
Yeah.
And
so they laughed too.
Cutting him soon, I bet.
Correct.
Anything else stand out in this? I liked Ryan Nall actually got a little running, but I mean,
I thought he looked all right.
Stats were kind of padded because he had 95 yards, but 69-yard run on one of them. So
yeah.
It was obviously kind of padded from that.
To me,
Shaheen stood out. That's what I wanted to bring up. Is Adam Shaheen stood out. After this game, he had 3 for 53, but what stood out to me was that a couple days after that, the coach came out and said that he's going to be a big part of this offense going forward.
I mean, just watching him kind of in that game, it seems a little different than last year. And we know tight ends take a while.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's taking that step.
Why do we think that Javon Weems was picked up in so many leagues?
That's, to me, if you got space...
I know he's a rookie,
and it's I liked him come out of Georgia. And I was actually like, I can't believe he I thought he was a good receiver in college,
right?
And playing with Georgia, and I was surprised. I wasn't going to draft him because he didn't really have the pedigree, and there was really nothing going on with Javon Wims. So I didn't want to, I wasn't going to put any stock into him. But I always had my eye on him, and every time I scrolled through the waivers and I saw him there, I'm like, what is the deal? Because I thought he was decent.
Anyone surprised by all the hype with Anthony Miller? He only gets 2 targets for 1 catch, -1 yards. Anybody surprised by that, or is that just...
Nah, the stat box is irrelevant to me.
Okay.
Like,
I just look at the targets.
Kind of take the preseason more as an overall kind of thing.
Gentry had 11 targets for Chicago, which is by far and away more than anybody else. And
yes, but you got to look at who he was running with, who he was in there with.
Yeah,
I kind of look at this type of stuff is that the clear cut like number 1 and number 2 guys don't get a whole lot of targets in games like this.
Sure.
They're their first preseason game, and so that's why I look at Anthony Miller. That kind of makes me believe the hype that
he's
going
actually
to be a starting guy.
I agree.
It's just like AJ Green. He got 2 targets. He caught them both, but it's like he got 2 targets. First series, boom, he's done. He's out for the rest of the game because he's already got his job solidified.
He had a 26-yard catch and a 22-yard catch for AJ Green. Pretty good.
Right. That's what I mean. So it's to me like that just shows me that Anthony Miller really is going to be a starting wide receiver for the Bears this year.
So where are you guys on Kevin White?
He's non-existent.
No, that's not true. I think he's going to be the 3. I think they're going to run with Allen Robinson and Anthony Miller and Kevin White. I think will be the other guy that
Taylor Gabriel's odd man out.
So you don't think
he hasn't been practicing?
You don't think Anthony Miller would be the 3? You think Kevin White would just be the 3?
I think they're going to put Miller in the slot.
Right.
I wasn't naming him by position. I think the White and Robinson on the outside.
I agree
and
with that.
Miller wins the slot job, is what I think.
I think that it's very possible Taylor Gabriel is odd man out. I'm hoping he's not because I own him, I think, in 2 of my 3 dynasty leagues. But I honestly think that at this point, as long as Kevin White stays healthy, they're going to give him first crack at week 1 to be the outside receiver alongside Allen Robinson.
Gabriel just hasn't been practicing, so I can't really say anything about him, good or bad. Like he hasn't been there.
He wants to play the outside though. Gabriel.
Get on the field.
I'm an outside receiver. I'm not a slot guy. But good for him.
So
good for Anthony Miller because Anthony Miller is the slot guy.
So what kind of formations do you think these they will tend to maybe line up in a lot?
The most productive one.
That's
I think
the
2
most
tight end
generic
sets.
Answer I've ever heard in my life.
Well, I don't know.
2 tight end sets.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Hopefully,
what is it? 12?
The 12 personnel.
12 personnel. 2 tight ends, 1 running back. That leaves how many wide receivers?
2.
So if you're looking at the 3rd guy, which is possibly not the guys on the outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not Kevin White and not Allen Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at Anthony Miller, or you're looking at, I'm just saying, however it shakes out, if they're, because they got Burton and Shaheen keeps on doing what he's doing, and
He just gave Burton all that money.
Coming from the coaching tree that he does,
Mm-hmm.
there's a good chance they're going to do 2 tight ends a lot. I feel
so.
like so. this is such an enigma to me, Chicago. I know there's a lot of hype behind it, but for me, it's very confusing. Like, I'm not sure, because that very first play, they shot Kevin White down the field, and he was open. Trubisky just missed him. So, like, I'm interested to see how this shakes out. Like,
they
the
said
next couple games.
Trubisky's had an up and down camp too. They said at times he's looked great, and times he's looked like terrible. So I mean, he's still a work in progress. I mean, I think he'll end up being good over his career, but he's still kind of a work in progress.
Next game?
Let's go to the next game here. You got Cleveland and the Giants, which is the one that was on TV that everybody saw if you were watching NFL Network. This one I thought was an interesting game because obviously they put it on TV because you had Baker Mayfield, you had Nick Chubb.
There's some big draft picks in
you
this
had
one.
Saquon Barkley, so it's like everybody wanted to see this game. And to me, it didn't disappoint. I mean, Barkley, we saw basically what everybody's been talking about since he got drafted. He had one breakaway run that was like, what was it?
39 yards.
39 yards. And then the other carries he got, he kind of danced around in the backfield and got, tackled for a loss, or he only got like a very minimal gain. So it's kind of the knock against him was that he got tackled in the backfield a lot. Even on the one, like you said, Travis, on that one, the 39-yard run, was it the two DBs kind of ran into each other and it kind of just opened it wide open?
Like he danced a little bit. Granted, like some of those moves are what make him good as well, and it's that Le'Veon Bell-esque kind of, dance behind the line a little bit. But yeah, it almost looked like the two guys totally bit on that.
I'll tell you what, it got me kind of hyped because I turned the game on and it's like your first taste of preseason football for this year, right? And then like after the kickoff happens, the very first play of the game, Saquon Barkley 40-yard run.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for all off season. This is it. And then it was like, okay. And then when Mayfield came in the game for Cleveland, because obviously Taylor started, which Taylor was great.
Yeah.
He 5 for 5, 99 yards and a touchdown. He came in, played one series, did what he was supposed to do.
This is the thing. I think their quarterback situation
is great.
It's like a non-issue because if Taylor goes down, you got a kid who's going to learn on the job and probably struggle his little struggles, but by all accounts, he can handle it. He's not going to be overwhelmed by the situation in the moment.
And then I thought Mayfield came in and looked great. And the one thing that you hear about Mayfield is how accurate he was. And man, even on the ones that were drops by the receivers, they were right on the money.
Yeah.
Or he was throwing the ball away, which was a great decision by him. He got 2 first downs with his legs on third downs. So he did what he was supposed to do. I thought Mayfield looked really good, threw 2 touchdowns. Another guy, James, your boy, David Njoku.
Yeah, you know what though? He only had the 2 catches. Both of them happened to be for touchdowns. If you watch Hard Knocks, you saw 2 different times Njoku dropping the ball, going across the middle. Mm-hmm. I was a little worried about that because you mentioned on one of the podcasts that he had a case of the
dropsies,
the dropsy doodles. He made sure he caught both targets that were to him in the red zone. If they're going to use him as that red zone target, especially when Josh Gordon's not there. Now, when Josh Gordon does come back, if he does come back, I think that the red zone targets will be split between those 2 guys because they're the 2 biggest guys on the team. But as far as right now, might as well soak up the red zone targets and get there. And if he's got a little vibe going with Taylor, and Mayfield obviously has a vibe with everyone, it seems like he's very accurate, then I like my chance with Njoku only being his second year in a tight end league, especially in a dynasty league. I love him.
I'll tell you one thing I'm worried about though with this Cleveland is not so much the receivers or the quarterbacks, is their offensive line didn't look good at all.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't get any kind of hole for Nick Chubb. He's the one that got the most carries out of anybody. It didn't look good. You look at his stat line, it says 15 for 11, and I don't blame Chubb for that. Like they had no openings whatsoever. So that offensive line kind of worries me a little bit. We talked about Joe Thomas retiring. But they in the past they've had a good offensive line. I'm not sure this year. I'm not sure about their line. That may be a work in progress. That may be where they need to go next year. Maybe is to get a little offensive line help.
Yeah, for me, it's still early. It's week 1, so I mean, we could see how it shakes out as long as they can kind of stay healthy and get a chance to all work together and gel together. It might switch up a little bit. I don't blame Chubb either or any of the running issues they had. Like I said, I'm pretty much throwing out the stat box. I just want to see either confirmation of what I think about guys or...
The one guy I did want to touch on for the Giants was Kyle Aletta. I thought he looked very good. He was 6 for 9, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I'm in a dynasty league and I own Eli Manning or I'm looking to build for the future after a quarterback leaves, Kyle Aletta to me having him on your taxi squad for a year, then you might have to wait one more season for Eli Manning to see what he's going to do, if he's going to retire, what he's going to do, if he's going to move on. If he's the guy that ends up taking over that offense, you have a really young Odell Beckham, really young Sterling Shepard, you have a very young tight end in Ingram, and you have a brand new rookie in Saquon Barkley. If he is that guy that kind of Manning kind of grooms, or the Giants groom to be the next guy, I like him going forward as a sneaky play that no one's even talking about. So Kyle Lauletta for me.
I liked him a lot in college. He came out of Richmond, and I liked him a lot in college. I think he went in a good spot.
Yeah, so as long as he keeps doing okay, doesn't throw any major interceptions and mistakes or whatever, I kind of like him going forward in a dynasty league.
Yeah, I guess I'll be the lone dissenting view. I'm not a fan of Lauletta.
But like, there's no one else is there, so
Yeah, I don't think the next guy is on that roster right now. For me,
okay.
I think I was listening to something today, and they brought up some good points. That he was at the Senior Bowl, and he was with some of these other guys that are higher draft picks, and he wasn't even in their league, kind of a thing.
Well, I agree.
So,
I think that he's definitely has, but that's why I like him, because he has those 2 years to kind of sit behind a guy like Eli Manning, who's been to the Super Bowl, has been in big games, and kind of gets to learn behind him, and he's not ever going to get just thrust in there of like, hey man, you're up next, like go ahead and get in there unless a major injury happens. But I like the fact that you can learn behind a veteran like Eli Manning, who also is a brother of Peyton Manning. So clearly he's good in the film
sons
room.
of Archie Manning.
Yes, they're good in the film room, and they're very smart quarterbacks, and that's why I want my guy to be behind.
Plus, this year was loaded at quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it really was.
He didn't stand out because there was 6 quarterbacks better than him at the Senior Bowl. They just.
Yeah, I mean there was a lot of good running backs, but there's some deeper guys that stood out.
Before we move on, any opinion on Antonio Callaway?
No.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good.
I thought he did too.
I mean the talent was never the knock.
Yeah.
It's the off field and the other issues.
Tell him what to do about the weed.
Stay off it.
Forget about it. It's not a non-issue, bro.
Stay off the weed.
In some states, it's legal.
Yeah.
He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't.
That doesn't mean that you can do it in Cleveland.
Definitely not in Cleveland.
Well, not here in Nevada either. If your employer doesn't want you to.
Listen, it was somebody else's weed. It was somebody else's gun parts. It was somebody else's bullets. All right, end of story.
Well, it's a non-story. All right.
Wow.
Next.
Let's move on. Tampa Bay and Miami.
Yes, sir.
This one actually, to me, kind of solidified
Let's hear it.
our opinion on who. When everyone asked who do you think is going to be the bust out of all the good running backs that are coming out, and there's a lot of good running backs that got drafted this last draft, and I think the three of us. Did all three of us agree about Ronald Jones?
Yeah, I think we're pretty much on the same page. We're not the biggest Ronald Jones backers.
No.
Right.
If you're looking for Ronald Jones truthers, then you are in the wrong spot.
Correct. And that's kind of the guy we all said that if we had to pick a bust from this rookie running back draft class, Ronald Jones was our guy. We've been hearing a lot of bad stuff about him on camp. Every time we turn on the camp news, it's Ronald Jones can't pass protect. He's having a real struggle catching the ball, and it's not going to look like he's a 3-down back. Like, that's what they kind of...
He has an uphill battle just beating out Peyton Barber for the starting job. I think that right now Peyton Barber has a starting job, and he has an uphill battle. And if he's going to try to take catches away from Charles Sims, that's also not going to be very easy. It's not just going to waltz right in there, and they're going to start giving him targets and giving him carries. I think that he legit has to still show that he can beat these guys out. Him getting a touchdown doesn't do anything for me.
I've heard that Sims is on the roster bubble.
Okay. Well,
I don't buy that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've heard that. I don't buy that.
You think they're trying to light a fire under him?
No, I just don't buy it. I mean, I don't know where it came from or who happened to say it. But so many people come out and say some random stuff from training camp nowadays, and some major news places run with some stories, and then a player comes out and totally debunks it pretty much, and then those places are putting are retracting it.
A lot of treason going on.
Two different places I follow. I got emails from, and they had to retract kind of what they ran with the Antonio Brown stuff. But as far as this goes, I'm not super sold on it just being Peyton Barber and his job.
No,
I think I definitely want to see. I'm still open to the fact of Ronald Jones being viable, but I definitely need to see the full body of work for the preseason. Before I really make up my mind. Because
I'm just glad I don't own him in any.
Me as well.
For now.
Me either. I don't own him in any of the 3 dynasty leagues, and that just goes to show you that I think that right now Peyton Barber is the lead back. It doesn't mean it's going to be the way it is week 1, but it looks like he's the lead guy right now until Ronald Jones can kind of get it together.
And I think when you're drafting rookies, you should keep that in mind. It's not just easy to walk in and I mean, unless you're Ezekiel Elliott or you're guys of this kind of stature, to just walk in and take over a guy who's been in the league for a couple years and he's basically a vet and he knows the ropes, he knows the deal, he knows what he needs to do. It's not as easy to just walk in and be like, okay, hey, I'm here, I'm the man. So so I could see this being a battle, definitely.
On the Miami side, anything that raised a red flag to you here?
Go ahead, Jay.
You want to do the Kalen Ballage?
Should I do that on Instagram
recap?
Live? Should we all do the 3, 2, 1?
You don't have to, but if you want to, feel free.
He's scared.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Kalen
Ballage.
What do you guys want to add to him?
Or is it garbage?
Kalen Garbage.
Here's the thing: is that originally I wasn't too high on Kalen Ballage. Then he started getting a little bit of hype in OTAs, and then the more you kind of watch practice, and the more they kind of show you, obviously in practice, is that he looks the same way he did in college. The knock on him in college, why he never got the full load of carries, was that he is built like an Adonis. Like he's built like a statue.
That's the knock?
No, that's not the knock. But he goes down at first contact. Like if you're
like,
big, if you're that big and you're chiseled and you just look like a work of art, why are you going down? He's running right into the pile, and they showed the pictures from practice. It came out on Twitter, so everyone that follows anybody on Twitter saw him. The guy runs right into the bunch.
I know you hate him. I don't know. I've been out of the three of us, I've been the most outspoken that I do like Kalen.
You've been higher on him.
I honestly think that he has not that great of an uphill battle to actually get significant touches. You have Frank Gore, who's got maybe 1 year left. Okay,
Come on, dude.
He's got 1 year left
this year. What kind of?
You're talking redraft?
What kind of battle does he have for significant touches this year?
Kenyon Drake and Frank Gore.
It's pretty significant.
I'm not really.
Right?
I guess.
The point is that
I don't like either one of those two guys now. I mean, at this point, Frank Gore, I like that he's consistent, but he's not an every down back. At this point, in my opinion, Kenyon Drake, yeah, he had a great season last year. I'm not ready to pencil him in to be like this solid, just,
But you're ready to slide them aside so Kalen Ballage can run
get
into the
some
pile.
touches. Some touches, yeah.
You said significant.
Yes, I think that in Dynasty, I was kind of referring to, if you're talking about just this season, then no. But I think 1 year. I think if Frank Gore leaves or retires or any injuries happen there, Kalen Ballage gets the bulk of the touches.
I don't know. I'm not ready to say that if it continues kind of with this narrative that's coming out, because you're right, there was the knock on him. Yeah, he's the chiseled Adonis, and you look at that guy and you're like, man, how can this guy not be a beast?
Right.
But that's that's how Saquon Barkley. I'm not comparing the two guys. Clearly, Saquon Barkley's talent is far and above Kalen Ballage. But in college, the knock on that we read when we were doing the rookie spotlight was that Saquon Barkley goes down at first contact. Whether it be behind the line of scrimmage or whatever, that he had the worst yards after contact of any college running back that had a significant amount of carries. He had the lowest yards, which is it was absurd when we found that out, because I remember saying it on his rookie spotlight, and I remember looking it up and fact-checking it, and I'm thinking, how is that possible? Because Saquon Barkley is supposed to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. So, it's
the problem,
bigger guys doesn't necessarily mean they want to run over people.
I know, but the problem is that even at Arizona State, he wasn't ever by himself. This guy is so good that he's going to get most of the carries. He split time all through college. So why would
that doesn't mean anything though? So did Nick Chubb and so did
why would you all of a
Michelle.
sudden get to the pros and you're doing the same thing? He's doing the same thing he did in college.
Okay, that's stuff.
He's got no vision.
That to me can be improved. That can be catching the ball can't be improved. That's a skill. Reading the defense can be improved.
I don't understand.
Reading the defense. It can and where to go and where to cut, where to look. Maybe his entire life he hasn't been looking at the right spot. Maybe there's something that he can that an offensive line guy or somebody can help him with, the running backs coach, to know where to look. And maybe he's just one of those guys that because of his size, he's always looked at worst case scenario, if I make a wrong cut, I'm just gonna run over the guy, and that hasn't been the case. Now he needs to maybe change that up and decide, look, I can't run over guys anymore. I don't like contact, whatever it is that's hindering him, and maybe he'll change up his game.
The problem is what's going to happen with Ballage is that he's going to have those games.
I'm positive. I'm sorry.
To where he runs into the pile 9 times in a row, and then there's going to be that one time where it does open up and he actually catches the hole.
Okay.
And he's going to break a long touchdown. And everyone's going to be like, "Oh my God, did you see Ballage? He had a 70-yard touchdown run. And he's so fast."
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
You're going to hope for that every week? You're going to hope
No,
that he actually
I'm not going
finds
to
the
play
hole?
him right now this year. By any means am I saying he's a flex player or anything. I'm saying for Dynasty, for the future, by next year even, he should be splitting 50-50, if not more. Frank Gore should be out after next year.
Okay,
Can we all agree with that? So it's going to be Kenyon Drake and Ballage.
No.
You think he's going to play 2 seasons?
I think he could play another season.
for me, he's definitely in Dynasty. He's definitely a guy that if you probably drafted in the late second, maybe the third, depending on when you draft. And yeah, he's a guy you throw in your taxi squad. Yeah, he's a guy you wait and see on for sure. I definitely agree with that.
That's all I'm saying. Thanks, Scoop.
But
I knew there was a butt coming.
If that's the case, you don't just blindly keep a guy. Like if this whole preseason, he shows you kind of the same thing and doesn't really give you that thing to be like, okay, you're worth keeping on my taxi squad and we're holding around, and not just turn around and being like, you know what, maybe I should ship this guy off, and not having an allegiance to him because he's an Adonis and because you think this.
I've seen enough to know that I believe in his talent. Like I don't need to see it in preseason against a third string defense or like him run into a pile. Like I know you're a rookie, you're gonna make those mistakes sometimes. I guess what I'm saying is I don't need to see that Amir Abdullah 65-yard screen pass or whatever.
You don't want to see him against ones though.
I would love to see him against ones, but I just don't think he's ready to take over the starting job by any means. So I'm in no hurry to do anything with him right now.
But going up against ones and taking over the job are different. I mean, you want to see him against that quality of talent because you've only seen him against college.
Just to be clear, I don't think he's going to take over the starting job this season. I'm thinking next season. I think he takes over and gets a significant amount of carries, 50-50.
Nobody's trying to pin you on what he's gonna do necessarily this year, next year, whatever. I like the possibilities for him just because some of his metrics and his profile. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
Like I agree with that.
He looks great without a shirt on.
But if this whole preseason goes by and then you're just not really given anything to go on, like I wouldn't have a problem myself cutting ties and shipping them.
But what do you do? Okay,
before
trading
waiting till next
trading
year.
them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cutting ties and shipping them.
Should we move on to the next game? So we have 17 games left to do.
Yeah, I know. That's
okay.
Go ahead.
Saints in Jacksonville. Saints won this game 24-20. You didn't see Drew Brees, but Blake Bortles was out there. He was out there for the first series. He actually looked decent. Anything stand out to you here? Because Fournette actually had 5 carries in this game as well.
Only thing that stood out to me and wasn't necessarily the game. Scroll up a little bit. It wasn't necessarily what happened in the actual game. Sorry, the other way. It's everything I heard in training camp from D.D. Westbrook and Keelan Cole. To me, all accounts show that every good news article that's come out or anything that's been significantly come out of this camp has been for Keelan Cole and D.D. Westbrook. I haven't heard much about Marquise Lee. Haven't heard much at all about Moncrief. So, and DJ Chark is DJ Chark. What do you guys take from this receiving core? Do you still feel the same, Travis, that you're still chips are in for Marquise Lee? Jay, you still believe in D.D. Westbrook, Keelan Cole, or has anything changed from what you guys have heard?
Yeah, which basket are you putting your chips in?
Well, like when you pin it down, I don't like this receiving core necessarily on trying to figure out how it's going to shake out. Isn't Moncrief kind of banged up right now? Did he get banged up?
I haven't seen anything about him getting banged up. He did play in the game.
Okay.
I didn't see him on the injury report. I don't know if he did after or not.
Okay, I thought there was something going on with him a little bit. Maybe it was prior to this game. But anyways, I like Cole and I like Westbrook. I say lead only because more of the vet and has been around longer. I don't think he's going to get any run in these early games necessarily versus these second-year guys and first-year guys. But it's still, to me, this one's kind of up in the air. Like, there's so many guys that there could just be a rotation of guys, and nobody's really super fantasy relevant for you. So this receiving core scares me a little bit as far as trying to depend on. Later in drafts, I would take a shot on some of these guys. In Dynasty, I would have Westbrook or Cole, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. I agree.
The running backs, I was kind of surprised to see Mark Ingram get 7 carries. He did have a touchdown. To me, I hope that this means that he's not in the doghouse when he gets back from his 4-game suspension because he's been there before. I would like to see him not be in there again. But Willie Snead is gone, so he needs to put somebody in the doghouse. Can Sean Payton go a whole season without putting somebody in the doghouse?
I don't know, man.
He's got to have somebody in there, right? Hopefully it's not Mark Ingram. He's already messed up once with the 4-game suspension.
I think it's a good sign. It's a nice sign that you saw him in there getting some work.
Right, I felt good about that.
I felt good about that too.
And I'm on the Corey Grant hype train. Let's go on to the next game. Or you guys want to talk about Traquan at all?
I'm concerned about Cam Meredith. If anybody's hoping on him or about to do some drafts, like I would put a red flag on him myself. I'm about to do a redraft or anything like that coming up, like he might be just an avoid for me. It's
I'm
too risky.
a little worried about him. I'd like to see him do good. I actually like Cameron Meredith as a player, but I'm a little worried about him too. Before we move on, I want to mention also it looks like the battle for the top spot, from what I'm hearing out of camp, while Ingram's suspended, it looks like Jonathan Williams is leading over Trey Edmonds. I know this game doesn't really indicative of that, but from what I've heard from the camp is that Williams has looked better than Terrence West and Edmonds so far.
We kind of said that.
Yeah, I saw that recently. That earlier, like it's been so all over the map to me, that backfield. That initially I was trying to take a stab at maybe grabbing a piece of that, but now I almost like I just want to stay away.
Avoid.
Because
right.
I think when Ingram comes back, whoever you took a chance on is irrelevant anyways.
Yeah, I agree. Like if you're gonna take somebody like I took Jonathan Williams in one of our dynasty leagues, and I'm hoping that he does something in the first 2 games just so I can flip him to somebody. And then I'll use the Mark Ingram in the doghouse narrative.
All right, next.
Nice.
Pittsburgh and Philadelphia battle for Pennsylvania here, and the Steelers just absolutely crushed the Eagles, but the Eagles had no Wentz, no Foles.
This was one of the games that cost me here.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
You took the Eagles on this one,
Yeah, I did.
No Ben Roethlisberger in this game as well. It was mostly Mason Rudolph. Landry Jones actually got the start, and it was 4 for 4. It was surprising to see him do that well because I've heard that he's probably going to be the out man out, but it looks like he has a leg up on Dobbs.
Yeah, I'm not. Josh Dobbs is not.
Does everyone agree that Rudolph is going to be the number 2?
Yeah, number 2
behind Roethlisberger.
I think it's between him and Landry Jones. I don't see why Landry Jones couldn't be the number 2, at least for.
Can we agree unless Roethlisberger goes down that they're irrelevant?
Correct.
All right.
Talking dynasty, bro.
Rushing. Any surprises running backs wise?
I was surprised to see Le'Veon Bell not there.
You were?
No.
Sarcasm meter.
Okay.
No.
1,000.
All right. James Conner looked all right. 4 carries, 25 yards. I still think that he's the one that benefits the most. I don't think it's Jalen Samuels. If something does happen to Bell or he doesn't show up or whatever may have you, Philadelphia, like we talked about in a previous episode about the committee that's going on there, it was exactly that. Every guy that we thought is going to be relevant got between 4 to 6 carries, and they all did about the same. So it's pretty much even there.
It was good to see Adams get a little bit of run. I like that they're giving him some action to see what they got. I think he's a good prospect for Dynasty down the road.
He just got banged up, didn't he?
Who's that?
Adams.
Adams did, yes.
What was it?
Nothing serious, but he got taken out of practice.
Oh. What about Connor with the 4 carries? That's probably his biggest output of the entire season last year. Did he ever have a game where he had 4 carries in a game?
I don't believe so.
So that was kind of nice to see there.
Wide receiver wise?
What about Juju's 1 catch for 71 yards? Did you see the replay on that?
I did see the replay. I thought it was kind of funny that one of our league mates and one of our leagues immediately, he played it really well. As soon as Juju caught that touchdown, he knew that that Pittsburgh Steelers fans were going to be all giddy. So he went and texted the one person that is a Steeler fan in our league and said, hey, do you want any interest in Juju? Knowing that they were going to go and they were watching the game, and ended up making a trade and got rid of Juju and made a decent trade back for him. And it ended up being, I think, Jamal Williams and Adam Thielen for Juju. There was a couple of picks that were involved as well. But, yeah, he pounced on it just like everyone else should be doing in the preseason. You wait for that guy to hit, and you ship him off. Or you're waiting for a guy to kind of struggle, and you make an offer. And this is where a lot of deals are made in the preseason, where if you're in a redraft league, this doesn't really matter to you that much until, the day before the season starts. I mean, this is stuff that dynasty players live to watch. And it's like, I want to see these guys. I want to see, does the guy have a talent? Is he going to be a bust? And see if he's going to pass the eye test, essentially. And it's not always about the stat line because, like Jay just said, Juju, 1 catch, 71 yards and a touchdown. You're thinking, oh, he must have made an amazing play.
It was a good catch, but the defender fell down.
Correct.
So
that's what I'm saying. Like, it was just... But it worked out and ended up making a big trade in one of our dynasty leagues. So it's just kind of funny that one play like that, just like the Amir Abdullah thing that we just said, one play like that can make or break a trade, and it can make a trade, which is awesome.
On the Eagles side, you had Shelton Gibson, who we just talked about, had a decent game. He had a 63-yarder and ended up with 2 for 77 and a touchdown.
What
and
about Goddard? Dallas Goddard. I mean,
he caught a touchdown as well. He had 5 targets. I like getting him involved in the game because, like we talked about before, maybe they'll run a lot of two tight end sets.
I'm assuming that they're going to run more 2 tight end sets this year than they did last season with Trey Burton, which is confusing to me because Trey Burton is supposed to be this top 5 tight end or top 10 tight end that's going to Chicago, and they didn't really use him much last season. Now all of a sudden it looks like in training camp and the first preseason game they don't mind using 2 tight ends, and Dallas Goedert's going to get a lot of run this season. So look for Zach Ertz touchdowns to go from 8 to 5 or 6. Next.
I love how you gotta call it. You gotta call it. Call your shots, baby.
Hey, I want to know if I'm right or wrong.
Another
What are you
nugget.
doing, bro?
That one wasn't me.
Keep this train moving, Jay.
Let's go. We got the Rams and the Ravens, and this is the Ravens' second preseason game because they played in the Hall of Fame game in the first week and they won. Now they just completely dismantled the Los Angeles Rams in this game.
Yeah.
Can we stop with the I don't know, just they're meaningless games as far as scores go. So completely dismantling.
All right, Travis doesn't care.
What does that mean though? Because we're not seeing starters, we're not seeing whatever. So what impact does that really have? I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here, but let's hit these highlights of who we think really stood out or who didn't stand out or who fell on their face.
Got it.
Okay.
You want to pump up the Bushop Pyramid?
I didn't mean to cause tension. I'm sorry.
Didn't cause tension.
I don't know what to say to that.
I just don't know who do you want to pump up.
I'm just saying who stood out, good or bad. John Kelly, to me, I thought looked well. I wasn't a huge John Kelly backer coming out, so I thought he looked well. I think if something does happen to Gurley, he might be the guy. I was a Malcolm Brown guy before this, so I think
Kelly
that
does
might
too.
switch.
I think Kelly wins this second job outright ahead of Malcolm Brown.
I think you know what you got with the Collins and Buck Allens. I think the guys to maybe look at are this Gus Edwards dude, some of the more deeper guys, and see how they shake out at the third and fourth running back when it comes to like dynasty stuff. Because if Alex Collins goes down or something happens to one of those guys, these are the guys you want to grab for cheap. These are the guys you want to like maybe get on there and stash if you got some room and spots to churn.
No Kenneth Dixon because he's obviously injured.
I would stay away from that guy anyway.
He's always injured.
You're welcome.
Kenneth Dixon, I've said since the very beginning, is not winning this job, Jay.
He can't get on the field. Like
You were the one saying that he was going to take over the job.
I still have a wall bet. He can't stay on the
You
field.
want to take it back?
No.
Ding, 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 ding.
Like
No.
Buck Allen versus Kenneth Dixon, I feel more confident about that wall bet than almost any wall bet we have. There's 15 of them.
I should have just made a wall bet. Will Kenneth Dixon stay healthy?
And I would have said no.
That's what I should have done on the wall bet. I'm not going to take my wall bet back, but damn. Like,
I wouldn't have let you anyways.
can you not get
That was
injured?
fake news.
You haven't put him on Planet Healthy, have you, Travis?
Who?
Kenneth Dixon.
Dixon?
At any point in his career, have you?
No.
He's in the bottom of the pile.
If Travis doesn't have him, then no one does. Next, let's get this next game. Nothing else I want to add to this. You guys?
You don't want to talk about Rashad Perriman?
No. It's
Come
the
on,
first
dude.
3 catches of his life.
Sarcasm. Get rid of that sarcasm, bro. Let's get moving here. I don't. Nobody really stood out super exciting or good or bad really from the receiving cores, right?
No, because they weren't in that how long. Crabtree only played like the first series, and same as John Brown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unless somebody falls on their face, and granted, we're probably not going to see that from the starters and the big guys like Crabtrees and those kind of guys. It's almost just like nothing to see here, carry on. For me, I'm more interested in these kind of deeper guys that actually get a little bit of run to see if all of a sudden somebody like the Gus Edwards, I never paid attention or even heard that guy's name, and now I'm like, you know what? Let me. I know who I'm going to watch in the next game.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
To see what he gets going forward.
Yeah.
The 2 rookies too. Jaleel Scott had 3 targets and Lasley had 2, but it seemed like they didn't get a whole lot of playing time either.
Yeah.
3 targets and 2 targets.
Yeah,
I was kind of looking to see if, because they didn't get a whole lot in the first game either.
So deep at wide receiver on
Right.
Baltimore, it's almost ridiculous.
Like when they did their whole revamp, they really revamped the entire.
Did they
wide
revamp
receiver.
or reamp?
They did everything.
Both.
Re-ramp.
They acquired.
All right, who we got?
New England Patriots.
This is a sad game, bro. Sad game.
I was happy with it. New England 26-17 over Washington. Not happy for the injury that just threw the whole Twitter sphere into a whirlwind with Darius Geis going down.
Into a hissy.
Didn't look that serious when they actually showed it. It didn't look like it was going to be an ACL. I thought it was going to be some kind of a strain, like a muscle strain. But yeah, it came out that he got an MRI the very next day, and he's going to be out for the entire season, which is a huge, huge blow to this entire team.
It's crazy because if that was like a snapshot of what to expect in the season, you had it all there. You had like he was running with some power, he was shedding tacklers, he was stiff arming, he was spinning. Like you were like, man, this guy's the real deal. He slid in the draft, and then boom, he's gone for the year. So that's a tough one. But they're pretty deep at running back. They got Kelly, they got P. Ryan, they got some guys. So I think they'll be okay.
Bibbs.
Bibbs.
Yeah, Bibbs actually had a pretty
Thompson.
good game.
What about Jeremy Hill?
To me, it's a two-man battle for that last roster spot and running back for New England.
He was on for the longest drive.
Between Hill and Gillislee.
Mm-hmm.
Gillislee didn't have a bad game. 14 for 43.
You guys are not allowed to pump up Jeremy Hill this year, no matter what.
I'm just saying that I think Jeremy Hill's going to make the team and Gillislee's not.
I agree with that.
I think that Hill is the guy that gets the last roster spot as far as the running backs go.
Who's going to get the last laugh?
Jeremy Hill.
And I think Gillislee's out the door. Gillislee's out the door there. New England's receiving core.
I don't know if I agree with that, but move on. Let's go.
New England's receiving core.
We still have 7 games left, so I at this point, I don't know if we're trying to rush through this because we're not going to get to all 7. Let's just be honest.
I think we went over a little too in depth early on. So
for sure, but we're not. Okay, go ahead.
So
we're at 15.
Are you worried? You want to cut it?
No, there's no way we're going to get to all 8 games, but go ahead.
I love your positivity. Let's go.
Let's move it. Let's go. Green Bay, 31-17 over Tennessee. You had obviously no Rodgers. You had Mariota that played very sparingly, but he actually looked better than he had in the past.
Stop talking about the starters, Jay.
Exotic smash mouth.
Stop talking about the starters, bro. Let's do
Valdez-Scantling, I was kind of surprised by. Valdez-Scantling, there was one guy that we just didn't really talk about. It was always Equanimeous St. Brown and Jamon Moore were the 2 guys that we kept talking about and touching on. We didn't know much about this Valdez guy, and now all of a sudden he comes out and he gets 7 targets, 5 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Looked really good, actually. But everyone kind of got a lot of run. All these 3rd and 4th string guys. Jay Kumaro got some run. Equanimeous St. Brown got some run. Jamon Moore, Geronimo Allison, now we just found out that he's number 3. It said that he's pretty much penciled himself into the 3 spot behind Randall Cobb and Devontae Adams, so I'm kind of interested to see there. But which one of these guys is going to be the odd man out, or 2 or 3 of these guys even? Because there's a lot of guys I see here that are in their 1st and 2nd year that not all these guys are going to make the team.
Who's the Jeff Janis?
Right, yes.
You know what I mean? Who's those guys? Yeah, they always are deep at wide receiver. So I definitely, like, a lot of these guys are probably on somebody's squad already. And if somebody is still out there on the waiver wire and you got some space, throw a chip in a basket.
Take a chance.
And see, because you don't know which one's going to shake out. You really don't. And if it does shake out, it could be very beneficial with
100%. Aaron Rodgers is all you need.
Also, take a look at Akron Wadley in deep dynasty leagues.
Fluellen, keep an eye on him. They play different roles. So Wadley's more of that Deion Lewis. Fluellen's probably more of that Henry. So depending on what goes down there,
if Henry goes out,
Fluellen's probably going to get some run.
Yes.
Right.
Next is the Texans versus the Chiefs. It was 17-10. Let's go. Not too much scoring, but what did you guys see from this game that you want to touch on? Brandon Weeden?
I don't want to touch on any of the quarterbacks.
Brandon Weeden at this point is 47 years old.
Even in the Superflex, are these guys...
He's 47 years old, Travis, and he's still doing his thing. Go ahead.
Get down, Playboy.
Like, I wondered when I looked at the stat box at how many Kansas City Chiefs receivers are on this roster, because look how many guys got a target. I mean, there's literally 21 guys that got a target on this damn team. I thought it was kind of funny. I'm like scrolling through. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Look at
some of them running backs though. They have
running backs, tight ends, and right receiver. Okay, anything that you guys want to touch on for them? Neither one of them ran the ball that well. I still think that it's Lamar Miller for the time being, because Foreman's going to be out.
For me, Foreman is a.
I don't know.
I don't even pay attention to Foreman whatsoever.
Like you just. Is he done? Is he done?
For me, he is.
Yeah.
For me, he is done. There is zero running backs.
But your point for John Ross, he didn't really get a chance. Foreman's never even had a chance yet.
But the injury he has, there is zero running backs that have come back to have productive careers after that. So for me, he's done. For me, it's about who's behind Miller in case Miller goes down.
Alfred Blue or what?
And that's the thing. It's Blue, or is any of those other guys going to maybe push Blue?
I guess
Blue's
Blue.
the vet there.
Yeah,
Blue's the vet. He's not going to wow you, but he's the guy that's going to get some of that run.
Have to go with Blue then.
I think
Shark
Kendrick West is one of the guys that gets cut from Kansas City too. I think
that's
very
possible.
Extra guys. I think they're gonna.
Look,
cut
we're
him.
running with 90-man rosters right now, so it's
40.
A lot of
guys
these guys
are going to get
cut.
Here's something we can talk about right here. Colts 19, Seahawks 17. It was a return of Andrew Luck.
Nice. It's good to see. It's good to see him out there throwing.
I liked it too. He actually led him to 2 scoring drives. Penny, you got any talk about Penny and Chris Carson?
I don't know there. I don't know what to believe there.
I saw Penny whiff on a pass
block.
Yes.
It was bad. Put his head straight down. You're not going to make a block on someone when you're looking at your feet. So it's very hard.
Hopefully they can get that fixed, because I'm sure they want to get him involved and they want him to be able to get put on the field. But if that offensive line is a mess and he's already running for his life, you need somebody back there that can help protect him. You can't have You can't have that. You just can't have that.
Marlon Mack also was injured with hamstring. That's something that can kind of linger. Hopefully he's able to come back from that. It's going to be a full-blown committee anyways. But
I still think that Wilkins
so do I.
and Nyheim Hines are the two guys to own here. I don't know why I believe in Marlon. I don't believe in Marlon Mack, but he just hasn't impressed me. And I don't know what it is. I need to see a flash somewhere in there. And I think Jordan Wilkins is a better first and second down guy. And I think Nyheim Hines is a better receiving back. So I'm just interested to see what happens there because I fully believe that all three of these guys will get plenty of chances this season because they're going to be down a lot. They're going to be throwing a lot. They're going to get plenty of targets and plenty of touches. I just want to see how it shakes down. Both these teams, really, because Seattle's backfield.
Like a party, bro. Plenty of touches, plenty of runs. Everybody's going to have a good time.
Seattle's backfield, same.
Dude, don't forget about Turbin, though, dude. He didn't look
again,
bad.
There's another guy. Like,
He's
yeah.
missed some time, but
4 games for suspension when the season
which means
starts.
that Wilkins and these three guys will have their run to at least prove themselves the first 4 weeks, I think.
And then maybe he's the monkey wrench that comes in and just
blows up.
Blows everything up.
Yeah.
It's scary. That backfield's scary to me.
What about before we move off of
Yeah.
this, Nick Vannett? He got the touchdown there for Seattle, and from what I read, Ed Dixon has actually been missing from practice, and he hasn't been able to practice at all. He's 31 years old, and it's just making Vannett run with the ones a lot more because Dixon's not in practice. So
just making him run with the ones, bro. Get back on the
boom,
field.
take that.
Ones and done.
What about the next game here? You have San Fran and Dallas, 24-21.
Yep. Nobody wants to talk about the Cowboys.
You don't want to talk about Michael Gallup's on the first drive. Gallup got a lot of run with the ones, and he actually ended up catching a 30-yard touchdown. Looked pretty good from Dak Prescott. If you watch this game, this is the other game that was on TV after the Browns and Giants. Dallas controlled the clock pretty well in the first half, and then San Fran came back in the last quarter, scored 14 points. Last 3 minutes of the game, really.
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I took back from this was after this game was Jerick McKinnon's injury. Who to pick up if something is really wrong with them. You have Jeremy McNichols there, Joe Williams. We said that Bradis hurt now as well. So that running back can definitely be up for grabs if there is something really wrong with McKinnon. They ended up saying it was a calf strain, which I thought was very weird because he was holding the back of his knee. And when you're holding behind your knee, that has nothing to do with your calf. Normally your calf is a lot lower than that. So I'm just a little weirded out by the fact they're calling it a calf strain. I don't believe it.
And I'm the resident doctor.
I just don't believe that.
That's why I was
the back
baffled.
of your knee.
Come on.
And it's your calf strain?
I thought you were the resident doctor.
I'm not. This guy is. That's why when you called me that, I was like, what are you talking about?
Isn't Travis the resident doctor?
No.
He's the one that's...
All I know
this
is
guy?
I've had a torn...
See?
I've had a torn meniscus before, and it hurts behind behind your knee is where it hurts. That's not a calf strain. A calf strain is well lower than that.
So you think there's more going on than
100%. I would not be... I will put my foot down on this and say that I guarantee something else is going on
I
there.
thought you were going to put your reputation on the line. Just your foot
Sure.
down?
I won't be on the podcast next week. No, I'm just kidding. Jerick McKinnon will have a significant... something else is going on there, not his calf. I guarantee you that.
To me, the injuries... McKinnon didn't get hurt in this game. He got hurt in practice, but Matt Breida came out and didn't play the rest of the game after the first quarter, and also George Kittle came out. They both came back as, they said, just minor injuries. They'll miss a little bit of time for practice, but they should be ready to roll by week 1. On the Dallas side, if Zeke goes down, can we all agree that it's probably going to be a 2-man committee between Smith and Scarborough? Because Scarborough looks like, to me, he's like the short yardage guy and possibly the goal line
50-50 or somebody getting...
No, I think 70-30. Rod
it's Smith. I think it's Smith for
yes.
sure is the guy you would want to have.
Would you go as far, though, Travis, in a redraft league to back up Ezekiel Elliott by taking Rod Smith as a handcuff, as a handcuff, or no?
He hate me?
I did the same thing on the last episode.
No.
Rod Smart's the better one of the two.
I would not. I would not.
Okay. Next? Or anything you want to add from San Francisco? No?
Not so much.
I thought Richie James looked really good.
I thought Richie James looked good as well.
Every time I saw him running a route, it seemed like he was very fast, very crisp routes, and that was the one guy that I kept seeing. Every time I saw something happen, I'm like, oh, who was that? And I look, I'm like, oh, Richie James again. So it just seemed like he was kind of standing out.
I felt like he played the entire game, too.
Yeah, it seemed like he was in a lot of plays.
So, yeah, definitely. I like saying that. Those are guys that I want to keep an eye on.
Because those are guys that are behind, like, the guys like Pettis and there's, like,
Taylor,
4 guys that
Goodwin,
are there.
and
Yeah.
Garcon, yeah.
There's always preseason stars.
Yes.
That, guess what? He's
Sometimes they don't pan
on
out.
team next year, or he's going to practice squad and somebody else is going to pick him up.
That's what I thought was happening with the Detroit Lions when we get there. Okay,
we'll save some time for that.
Jets and Falcons?
Jets and Falcons, 17-0. So not a whole lot going on the Falcons side, but they didn't have a whole lot of guys playing.
Is Bridgewater now, is he showing what he can do because they want to trade him?
Yes.
Or, okay, because I thought he looked really well. I thought he looked really good. Him and Darnold.
You don't think they would cut the old veteran?
No, I think that they want to start Darnold week 1. I think that McCown's going to be the backup there. Maybe McCown starts week 1, but they want McCown and Darnold. I think they're throwing Bridgewater out there because they want to trade.
But why? Like, Bridgewater looks really good, and if he's doing everything right, why would you want to abandon on him? Like,
I don't think you want to abandon him. He's on a cheap deal right now. He's on like a 1-year deal.
1 year for like $10 million, I thought.
Right. So I mean, I guess you keep him for 1 year because they're not going to re-sign him to a long-term contract next year.
Would you?
Well, no, that's not the argument. Nobody thinks that they're going to sign him for a long-term deal over Darnold, the guy they just drafted so high.
So why not sell high?
On what? Some preseason?
On Bridgewater. He looked good all throughout camp and preseason for week 1.
This is real football, though. This ain't dynasty.
Okay. Well, then I guess
you want to have some depth. Though. I don't know. I don't know if they just.
Yeah, that's what McCown is. Depth. He's not a great quarterback. He's depth.
Yeah, I mean, both of those guys are known to be hurt.
So Darnold starting week 1. Go ahead, move on. What do we got? Receivers, running backs. Anybody you guys want to talk about?
The rookie Trenton Cannon.
I thought he looked really good too.
Yeah, he's the guy that everyone kind of talked about once Elijah McGuire got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Did you pick him up in a league, Travis?
I believe I did.
Yeah, you did. Crowell came out with a concussion, and Cannon actually got a lot of run, and I thought he looked good too. I thought he looked pretty shifty. Like right now, he's 4th on the depth chart, but like we said, in Dynasty, that's somebody you want to kind of take a look at.
I think
maybe stash him.
Yeah, I think he could be 3 on the depth chart pretty easily. I think it's Crowell and it's Powell, but that's the guy. Yeah, you're right. That's the guy you want to have if something goes
right.
wrong.
You just stash him.
Hurt, yeah.
Powell got the start, which I thought was kind of surprising.
Yeah, there's some life coming back on Powell as of late.
I feel like the Jets don't like him. They just never give him a chance.
Game of the week.
Because he's like 50.
Game of the week right here.
429. 16-10. The Raiders beat the Lions. We kind of touched on a different episode with Kerryon Johnson, how good he looked.
We can touch on that here, too.
Let's touch on it here, then.
I like touching.
He had a 57-yarder called back.
Mm-hmm.
It would have looked a lot better.
I thought Chris Warren looked great.
So did I.
I thought that I thought Kerryon looked really good. Marshawn Lynch had a really good run that got called back as well. I watched the majority of this game, so we were playing poker during it, and I thought that at the end we got absolutely hosed.
So you were focused on it because you were losing at poker?
Yeah, I got taken out very quickly, and I was like, hey, let's watch the game.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you know Lynch is there. He's solid. Is it coming down to they're not going to carry all these guys? And if Warren keeps looking this good, what happens with Rashard in Washington?
Here's the thing: is that we're talking about like dynasty stuff. So you have Chris Warren, who's an undrafted free agent, right? We talked about it in like previous episodes when we were breaking down the Raiders. Is that Lynch, Doug Martin, and I believe Jalen Richard? They're all on their last year of their contract. You haven't heard anything about these guys getting extended whatsoever. And we go look at Chris Warren's stature. He's the biggest guy they don't have anything like him. Like Washington and Richard, they're kind of smaller guys. Martin and Lynch are kind of like the same type of size. No one is as big as Chris Warren. So he just brings a different dimension to that team because there isn't anybody else like him.
He's making this team, I think.
He's the 5th dimension. Is that his new nickname?
I'm just saying that after this year is over, Lynch is probably going to retire because Lynch doesn't want to come to Las Vegas. He only came out of retirement because he wanted to play for his hometown Oakland team. So now you have Martin. If Martin stumbles at all, they're not on the hook for anything. He's on a 1-year deal. And then you have Washington leaving, which leaves you Jalen Richard or whichever one of those guys is a free agent. I can't remember if it's Richard or Washington.
Paging Dr. Narrative.
Warren makes a team.
I agree.
Okay, so what's the deal with Richard and Washington?
Washington makes the team, Richard does not.
Huh?
Oh, you think one of them doesn't make the team, one of them does?
They're not going to carry all of those guys.
They're not going
to carry 5. Right? Yeah. Can we agree on that?
It's possible they put Chris Warren on the practice squad.
He won't.
And they keep him. Well,
he will be gone.
Well, then yeah, it's going to be Richard or Washington's odd man out. I'm not sure which one of those two. As of now, I will let you know in a couple weeks.
I hear Washington plays
special teams. That's why I think Richard's. That's why I originally said I think Richard's odd man out.
Okay, I just think that's an interesting.
I agree. Richard should be the one that's odd man out because I think that Chris Warren makes his team as well.
Huge mistake at the end of the game there when we got tackled from behind and his arm was going forward. It was a fumble. That's how the play ended. For some reason, they didn't review it, and that cost me my ticket. That was one of the ones I
probably because it's preseason. That's why they didn't
the resident doctor and Lions apologist.
All right, let's move on to your game.
So Travis wasn't moving forward.
Let's have Travis gush a little bit here. Vikings 42, Broncos 28. Go ahead. You have the stage. Chad Kelly, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sure. I love it. I ain't got to gush about it because that's my boy. I got him in like every dynasty league. I've had him for since all of last year.
His seat is wet right now.
I traded up to get him in our most recent Superflex dynasty, so I am a Kelly truther.
Yes, you are. Paxton Lynch just looks terrible. Like if you own him in Dynasty, I think he's droppable. Like I don't even think he should be owned.
It's not good. The arrow's pointed down. The arrow's definitely pointing down.
I did like to learn the correct pronunciation of Sloter. Kyle Sloter. Remember we were talking about it? It looked like Slaughter.
No.
It's
Oh
Slaughter.
yeah. I remember Sergeant Slaughter. We were saying.
Yeah, Sergeant Slaughter. is
More
what we're
than
calling him now.
Tarod.
Yeah.
More than Tarod. Obviously, Rock Thomas showed out. I think he wins that third spot in the running back pecking order.
I thought Boone had a couple flashes. He also had a couple ones that were lackluster.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, Rock Thomas too kind of showed out.
And I think, to me, Latavius Murray is somebody that you can't really sleep on. Like, if you get Dalvin Cook, you need to get Latavius Murray if you're doing a redraft.
I mean,
I don't know about that.
it's so tough. I know you've
I would still draft him, but not because I had Dalvin Cook.
You've been pounding the table for that for definitely, and I see the argument coming off of injury, and I see that, and Murray's looked good, and Murray, I think from by all accounts doesn't want to be a backup.
No, from what he said himself,
he's playing like that or whatever. I agree. It would be nice to have that. Where you reach for it or go after it is probably the conversation to have. But yeah, I agree. He's worth owning.
I want to see more Cortland Sutton. I want to see more
Deshaun
Hamilton. Yeah, I haven't seen enough of them yet.
See
I haven't heard much about him.
Yeah, didn't see anything from Deshaun Hamilton whatsoever. He had one target, so I want to see a little more of him.
Yeah, Cortland Sutton only had 3.
I was happy to see. I thought Philip Lindsay played pretty well on special teams. He looked good on the kick returns and also in the receiving game. He only got 2 carries, so I can't really judge off of that. But they did try to get him involved like later in the game, and I thought he looked pretty good. I think that he's the one that makes the team. I don't know about Henderson. As far as the running backs go, like to me, he doesn't look very impressive. You still have David Williams there, which didn't get a whole lot of running time either. But I think that Philip Lindsay will make this team as an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Me too.
Freeman looked good. I like
last game.
Yeah. The whole first unit for Minnesota looked great too.
This was a fun game to watch for me.
Yeah.
I thought this game was really fun
because there was a lot of scoring. Like Cousins looked great, Diggs looked great. They all looked good after that first unit.
It's that defense of the Broncos struggled early on, but then they came on strong.
Right. Let's go to the last game so we can end it here. You had Cardinals 24, Chargers 17. This to me was one of those games where like nobody, as far as the quarterbacks, like Bradford came in for one pass. Phillip Rivers didn't play at all. I thought Rosen just didn't have any time. Like you look at his stats, 6 for 13 for 41 yards, and I mean he made a couple of kind of questionable decisions, but for the most part, he just didn't have a whole lot of time upon the offensive line.
Who's a running back you want to own in Arizona outside of David Johnson?
Chase Edmonds.
Over DJ Foster, Logan, and the rest?
I think so. I think that Chase Edmonds has done enough in practice to where he's kind of ascended himself to that number 2 spot behind David Johnson.
Same question with Melvin Gordon behind him. You have Austin Eckler, and you have Wilkins.
I've been pounding the table for Justin Jackson, but apparently he's missed a lot of practice time with injuries, and Eckler has kind of taken over because earlier, if you go back to when they first started training camp, all the hype was about Justin Jackson being the backup to Melvin Gordon, but he hasn't been there. Right. And so Eckler's kind of taken over that spot as the number 2 guy for the meantime. When Justin Jackson comes back from injury, who knows what'll happen? But as for right now, it looks like Eckler.
Taking over, or is he probably the one that was holding that spot?
He was, but there was a lot of hype for Justin Jackson once camp started. They said he looked really impressive, and he's somebody that could kind of take over that number 2 spot, and then
it just never happened.
He hasn't been there.
Yeah.
But as far as the receiving core on both teams, I didn't see anything that looked very impressive. They threw a lot to this Davis kid on Los Angeles. He had that one really big one for 47 yards, but again, it was Eckler who was the third leading receiver. Besides that, though, nobody else really got a whole lot of playing time as far as like starters go.
Yeah.
Even Christian Kirk, three targets only.
Yeah, but
easing him in.
His first touch though on the special
punt,
teams,
right?
was
it was
he
nice.
could have took it to the house. He tripped over his own feet.
He saw the punter, dude. Like that, he had beaten everybody else. He saw the punter in front of him, and there's a couple of guys like right on his tail.
He made too many cuts,
and I think he's got his feet crossed up a little bit, and that's what.
What about David Johnson coming out saying, "I'm back and our offense is stacked"? Like, is it?
Well,
the Arizona Cardinals' offense is stacked.
Maybe he just happened to be back.
With
2 carries
Bradford,
for 28 yards. Ridiculous.
He looked great, but the offense is stacked. Okay.
Behind a terrible offensive line.
And no court. I mean, come on. You have Bradford and you have Rosen, who don't look that great yet. And
Bradford.
What you have Fitzgerald, and that's it. You have no tight end. Ricky Seals. I don't know how you say his offense is.
A lot of people say a lot of things. Josh Gordon and Jarvis Landry were saying they were gonna whatever. They were the best tandem in the entire NFL.
Yeah, but that's
Everyone
believable,
says
at least.
everything.
Sure doesn't care whether you believe it or not.
Yeah.
I would want my guy to kind of come out and say that. Of course, I'm not going to beat him up for it. Do we think that's the case? Of course, we probably don't
No,
think that's the case.
we don't.
But do we know? No, we don't really know.
Hell no.
I don't know nothing, and I don't care.
Anything else you guys want to add to preseason?
No, we've already gone way over our
Yeah, can we crack it?
limit. Let's crack it.
All right.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be too large of a
It's gonna be
fight.